Hi, y'all. I'm Kristen Live, and I am a former toxic girl.
Hi, Kristen. I'm DDF Baby, and I am a recovering toxaholic.
Hey, Dee Dee.
Hi, Dee Dee. And I'm Aisha Thalia, and I, too, am a recovering toxaholic, but I'm working every day on being a better person.
Hi, Aisha. Hi,
guys.
And this is Toxics Anonymous podcast. We are a support group for those that maybe have been a little bit toxic in their former life, but no longer want to be that way. So we come together and we discuss solutions and treatment plans.
I love this for us, guys. All right, so let's get into it because this is like one of the first solo episodes we've had in a long time. So I just wanted to talk about, something that a lot of people need in today's society, and that is boundaries. Okay. Yeah. There's a whole lot of things going on in this media cycle about people who are getting into things, and it's mainly because they're not respecting boundaries. We have Tommie Lee, who, basically tried to barge into the mother of Chris Brown's dressing room, and, she saw a baby. She, invited herself into the room, was like, oh, it's Chris Brown's baby. And as fascinated as she was by that, the mother wasn't too pleased by that, and she took offense to it. And it ended up being a huge dispute, understandably so, because she wanted to protect her child. And I know how you mama bears get, right? You know what I'm saying? So then
who is Tommie Lee for the people who don't? I'm actually not even sure. What is she known for? What is she?
She's
is it reality TV?
She's in reality TV. She's in a lot of reality shows.
First of all, I think that the reason why who she is very important in this situation. She's actually known for beating her kid. So
really,
yeah, I mean, she was on the Love and Hip Hop franchise or whatever. She's known for being very violent, and then she
for beating her child.
Yeah,
didn't know that. I don't watch those shows though.
She wasn't on the show beating her child, but there was a case of, she disciplined her child to the point of beating her child up. Her child is older, and there was like a whole thing about that. I don't really know what came out of it, but I mean, with her reputation, I don't think that it's anything necessarily crazy for the mom to react that way. Like, I don't want my kid around this woman
or anybody that's trying to force their way into my space, especially with my early child present. Another thing is she's part of that Zeus network, so she was with Natalie Nunn, who, they're part of the whole Bad Girls Club, and they perpetuate this toxic, like they're used to fighting, and they, they normally are all about it,
Yeah.
But it was interesting how Natalie was like, why would you do that? And da-da-da-da in this situation, because it interfered with her relationship with Chris Brown,
Right.
So it's like, I just feel like when it comes to boundaries, instead of her being like, you know what, I respect that, I understand why she was upset, she went on Instagram Live and started talking about the mom, the child, Chris Brown, F them, the baby look albino, like there's something wrong with them. And
so I think a lot of people get into that defensiveness when they're wrong. I think that's a toxic trait that a lot of people are trying to fight through, or some don't even recognize that they have, that instead of acknowledging that they're wrong, they immediately go into F this person, F that person. I don't care. It's the same thing abusers do when they get caught. Like, man, other people do it, blah, blah, blah. It's just, it's a deflection. It's like, instead of just saying I was wrong, it's the tirade of why everyone else is the fault and then they're the victim.
Really, that's a defense mechanism because, if you go to the different types of defense mechanisms that there's like the one where you project that, oh, well, fuck them, I didn't like them anyway.
Right.
And it's, okay, keep telling yourself that. But really, that she was
an embarrassment.
Hurt.
Yeah, you get hurt.
She was hurt that she felt like, dang, in front of everybody, you don't want me around your kid. Like, damn. And now she came out and she apologized and said, I'm sorry, like, I love the kids. I can't help it that I love the kids. Like, you know, I was enamored by, you know, it's Chris Brown's child or whatever, but, you know, my bad.
See, and that's, I think, what the problem is right now with having social media so prevalent in society, that we think that we're entitled to see everything. And I think that's the problem. Like, because people give you a little bit of something, they want all of it. I know I can speak for myself in that I'm very vocal about my ups and downs and relationships and imperfections. But one thing that I don't cover and I refuse to cover on social media are my kids. One, because they're not old enough to consent to that. And I really do believe that for the most part, even until kids are fully grown, and I'm talking about maybe even their brains are, you know, until you're really in your 20s, I think that it's kind of tough for people to be able to consent to leaving that footprint. You can never take that back. What's on the web, you can't delete, you can't erase. And who's to say that they want their baby pictures out there? They want this. That's going to be forever for them. Now, if you choose to do that, that's fine. But some parents aren't okay with it. Some people are okay with just putting up gardening posts. And that's all you're going to get from them. It doesn't mean they don't love their husband or their kids. It just means you're not going to see their husband or their kids. We have to be okay with people setting boundaries and drawing lines in the sand, saying, this is what I'm willing to give you of myself. And that's it.
Right.
And that's it. Like, Rihanna is really big on that, you know. In fact, she wanted to make sure that she controlled the image and likeness of her child's first debut. When, you know, paparazzi ended up getting it, she was like, oh no, like, I'm going to control this image. So, you know, she had that interview with Jason Lee where he was able to release, you know, that type of footage. And then you got Kanye, who is really, really vocal about, hey, you know, paparazzi, you guys are exploiting me. You know, you could take your pictures, but you get to make money off of this, and you get to, you know, interfere and impede on my self time. Like, whatever you're asking me, those are 10 minutes that, you know, I no longer have for myself. You know, so
I just find it interesting that somebody that set such a strong boundary between him and the paparazzi ended up marrying somebody who there is no boundary between her and what is put out in the media. In fact, in private moments, it's like they'll call the paparazzi to be there and get pictures of their most intimate and, you know, vulnerable moments.
He liked it.
That was such
he liked it too. He didn't have those boundaries before. He was very vocal.
He did have those boundaries before.
No,
definitely.
You watched him when he was out there with Kim. He was very quick to be on those Vogue covers. He was very quick to be out in the streets.
Oh no,
with her.
I mean before he got with Kim. Kim, he did not like the paparazzi. He was throwing people's cameras and all kinds of stuff, and then
that's the thing.
I don't know why he wanted to take on that challenge.
Because it benefited him. It benefited his fame. It benefited his likeness. It benefited his image. It was all about. I mean, he was even finding ways to dress her and make her this person. He was all behind it until he couldn't control it any longer. And a lot of powerful men do that. Like, we love it when we can build you up and sell you out and throw you to the wolves because we benefit from it. You're mine. That's just property. However, when it began to dissolve and fade, then all of a sudden, well, I don't like that, and I don't want my kids on there either, and I don't like this. You were just fine with doing those shoots and everything, including the children, when you were involved. But now that you're not involved, you don't like paparazzi. So some celebrities have a good case. They're like, listen, you can do what you want with me, but my children are off limits. You can't do both. You can't do both and then say, but I don't want you to do this. You can't give them that and then try to take it back. Once you've done it, it's too late. You've already exposed them.
I will take it a step further because I definitely feel like I watched that whole thing unfold. With Kanye, I saw the transition, and he started to, and this is why this topic is really important, because we're talking about boundaries and the boundaries you set. And sometimes when you set boundaries, you start to change them and you start to move things around. And you have, each of us, you know, in my orientation of psychology, I was a systems therapist. And like you yourself, you're a system, right? So you have different rules of people that can get into your system and people that can get out, and et cetera. And I feel like Kanye had a system and he changed it for the betterment of his career or the betterment of his relationship. Because at first, when they got together, they had North, and he did not allow North to be on their TV show. Like, he was very strict about it. Eventually he changed and he gave in and whatever. I don't know what conversations that they had, But you start to see that, and you start to see that when people change their boundaries, they lose themselves.
That's a bar. When people change their boundaries, they lose themselves.
Well, he's abusive and I don't like him. So it's hard for me to speak in a non-biased way. Yeah, I know he is. He's super abusive. He's exploitative. People that act like they don't want the paparazzi involved, but then they spoon feed information about their children and their children's mother to Twitter. But
what came first, the chicken or the egg? Because we don't know what went on behind the scenes.
We saw how he did Amber Rose. So we can go all the way back to see that he's been toxic. He's tried to control that narrative. He gag ordered her about speaking about their relationship. He's made it very clear that he runs the show and that anybody goes against him. It's a very narcissistic trait that when you run the show and anybody dares go against you, then you get punished.
Right.
And and everybody will find out who deal with those type of people, that there's always somebody that's going to be next.
Yeah.
You'll be there and you'll be getting all the good things. And the next thing you know, when they move on to the next, that person suffers.
Yeah.
But you always think you're going to not be the one to have to deal with that until you are the one that ends up like, oh, wow. So,
right. So
that
maybe
to
that's
me,
his karma.
the signs
maybe he met his match,
the signs were there. The signs were there. The way he said, oh, I had to take 1,000 showers before I could be with Kim after Amber because she was so gross. I saw them in person. I did a music video once and they were all there. It was with Kanye, and the way he was loving on her and so proud of Amber at the time. And so, she was on his arm and it seemed so beautiful. And it's like to then just talk down about somebody that for whatever reason you're not with them anymore, that that you loved at some point, in order to big up the next person is super toxic.
Sounds like a defense mechanism.
Very
again,
much
like he's protecting himself from being embarrassed of
making fun of her on the music
of her. She ain't fucking with him no more, and it's like
it's
I think
disturbing.
that he expected her to kiss
the hell out of her.
Yeah, it's very scary, and it makes me sad because it's like you got to watch the patterns of how people did people before you, because then you may see it next. But in terms of boundaries, I totally understand when people put up the line for their children, because I'm that person, whether we like them or not. That's someone's private part of their life. But I do think there needs to be rules put in place. Like, for instance, what happened with Princess Diana, where people chase you to the point where it can cause your death. Like, remember that back in the day when Britney Spears was being chased and she put her baby in the front seat of her car and was driving because she had a panic attack. And that happens to people when there's lights everywhere and there's cameras, and then you're like, you don't know what to do. You probably tense up. And it's like, there needs to be rules put in place. These people, paparazzi, are becoming they are a traffic problem. They are a safety problem. But when it comes to just maybe walking in and out of a restaurant or something like that, you're an adult, you're fair game. Like Rihanna said, she said, I'm fair game, but my kids are not.
And I respect that, because she signed up for it. Those kids didn't,
Exactly.
But even the people who are fair game, like, for instance, you got Tiger Woods, who's, an adult, and he has his friend, and he's competing against his friend in this golf tournament, discreetly passes his friend a tampon as a joke, And you have all these people who are like, oh, that's so, misogynistic, and it's this and it's that, and they're pegging him to be all of the things other than well-humored, and I feel like other people impose their hypersensitivities on other people's relationship. Like, how I call our husband. I've had people be like, she's okay with that, mind your business, know what I'm saying? Like, this is our relationship,
right. Our boundaries are different than your boundaries.
Exactly. So it's like, when you have people who try to impose what they think is okay onto you,
right?
I think that's so ridiculous.
I feel like that's becoming a revolving theme with our podcast. We talk about that a lot. People projecting, and
of course,
that could really be added into any topic that we discuss. Like, it's the root of all evil. Projecting. Like, stop that, y'all.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, I think now with cameras being everywhere and people watching everything, when you're in public, you have to be extra careful about what you do, just because we don't live in an age anymore where you can get away without being filmed or photographed.
Yeah.
And then, you take it. Yeah, it is like, comedians can't say anything anymore. People can't, it is getting very, very hypersensitive. And some of it is well-founded. Some of it is, look, we're no longer going to take a rapey joke and be like, oh, that's just boys. That's just locker talk. There are boundaries. Boys. Yeah, boys will be boys. These are boundaries that people are now willing to say, look, this is a line here. These misogynistic jokes, these these things are not okay. We don't know. I don't know about the Tiger Woods thing, but I do know that if you're in a tournament, anything you do in front of all those cameras are
But
gonna
he
be
wasn't
super,
like, when I tell you, you could not. It looked like this.
but it was still in public, right?
Not, I mean, it's
It was
during
on
the
a tournament,
So
right?
How'd
you're
they-
all
how'd
the way
they
on the
know?
green. Someone had a professional camera and they zoomed and zoomed
Those
and then
damn
zoomed and zoomed.
Oh, so it was like
Yeah,
a far,
it was
far away
something.
thing.
Yeah, like imagine you watching a golf tournament from way over yonder, and someone
those
taking
are-
something out their pocket, and it literally looked like a drug deal. It was like this. And
That's
he's
even,
like,
but that's even worse though, because if you're doing something that looks like a drug deal, of course they're gonna zoom in. You're Tiger Woods.
But look at the craziness between like the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Look at how Tyler Perry had to take them in. They had to literally move from where they were living because people had boats coming over to an island in Canada. They were having boats. They had to put up. Tyler Perry had to have things installed, like fences installed, so that people could not take those high powered cameras and zoom into his house. So that's crazy. Your house should be
everything
your
is public.
sanctuary.
Yeah.
That should be a boundary that like we know we don't cross. Maybe when you get out of your street, then maybe it's fair game. But in your house, to the point where now you can't even be safe. You'll see those pictures like Beyonce and Jay-Z on a yacht, like way out. There are no boats around them, but somehow they still managed to get a picture.
Right.
There we go with. Now we're getting obsessed, and that comes down to obsession with other people's lives. And when we have this obsession with celebrity, and which is why I try not to follow too much celebrity stuff or try to just put my brain in that space, because it's just such a waste of space. But unless it has to do with abuse or something that I think that everyday women can relate to, I try not to even put myself in, internalize it or
Right.
focus on it. But
yeah, so
something
I mean
like
that is
a big
that is
deal.
stuff that we can't even really like own
That's
into,
scary.
because when we're talking about celebrity boundaries and stuff, we're talking about things that you may or may not be able to control. But let's talk about some boundaries that we can control, because we're not celebrities at this moment, right? So, Dee Dee, because you've been real quiet this episode. She loves to ask the questions.
I'm waiting. I'm like,
She
what
loves
you
to ask
gonna
the
say?
questions and then see what everybody else is gonna say. But what are your boundaries with your friendships?
I don't really have many boundaries with friendships. I have an open door policy. Like, I'm a Cancer. My friends are like my family, So, I'm the type of person, if you have a problem, you could talk to me about it. Like, I'm a problem solver. If you have an issue, we're going to fix it. Like, I'm not even with all the like, oh, like, don't dump on me. Like, girl, your problems become my problems until, I'm a fixer.
What about your problems? Do they become your friend? Like, are you open?
Yeah, I think I'm out. I mean, my life is pretty like,
She said she's flatline.
yeah, I don't
So she
really
ain't
have
got
much
nothing going
going
on
on.
right
Right.
But you are more of the quiet friend. You're the type to like let other people vent to you. You don't really, unless it's something major, you're not the type to be like, let me discuss it, which is a good way to be.
My boundary is
Actually.
you can't say nothing about my friends. That's
like
my
that.
boundary.
That's a good boundary.
Like,
I like
I
that.
don't care. You
Right.
can't nobody say nothing about you. Can't nobody
Right.
say nothing about you. Prepare to get checked.
Right.
If that's the situation. Like, don't come for my friends. Don't speak ill on my friends. Don't speak ill on my family. That's
Yeah.
my boundary.
Yeah. Exactly.
And with friendships, another boundary that I do have is if there is an issue, you don't talk to somebody outside a gang. You know what I'm saying? You talk that, because that's
It's gotta
like,
be an insider.
yes, that is one of my biggest things. Like, if there's a problem or an issue and I don't hear about it,
Right.
then that's a huge problem. And then, look, I'm thinking we don't have none, but now,
Right.
now that
You're
I
like,
Right
think
now,
about
all
it,
of a sudden, the boundaries
Now.
are really.
yeah, look, I'm like, and then we don't tear each other down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
another big boundary
I like
for me.
that.
Like, you're not going to sit there and talk about anybody who's in crew, or talk about or bring anybody down to make yourself feel superior.
Elevated, yeah.
Like, we celebrating everybody in the crew. We're bigging each other up. We're motivating each other. We're inspiring each other. Anything outside of that, I automatically reject it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
That's
that.
fair.
So those are my few boundaries. It ain't many, but
Cancers, we're just really loyal. So like our boundaries are strong when it comes to
Very
friendship
strong.
because we're also quick to just like once what do they say? Trust is earned in drops but lost in gallons. And that
It
is
is so true.
It takes me so long to trust somebody, but it takes me 2 seconds to be like, well, now I know where to put
That'll
you.
do it.
That one
That'll
thing
do
about
it.
you, like,
Yeah.
we know where to put
That'll
somebody.
do it. And when
That'll
someone
do it.
stays for the long haul, you know that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, we
Right.
got something here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's even more
Because it takes a lot
protective.
for us to cut people off.
Oh.
But once we do, it's like,
It's
Yeah.
it ain't
like you
nothing
never
to
even
cut
knew 'em.
that. Oh, that might be our toxic song. You just
Hey, no, that is a good
Right,
one.
That's
Yeah,
a good one,
exactly.
like for sure. But nah, on some like, what about relationships though? Like romantic relationships, since we asking the questions.
yeah, Kristen, what are some of
right.
your relationship boundaries?
Because I feel like with social media, like it's just tying it back. I feel like people look at what we got going on, like it's like what's going on. You don't post anything
Yeah.
about your family or your personal life. So the people be wanting to know, and it's like, what's your boundary?
It's
regarding
Pandora's
that?
box, really, because once you open it, it's like you've opened your relationship up
Right.
for other people to see, and now
we
you
don't
can't
like
be
that.
mad when they
want to know, but why y'all broke up?
Like,
Right.
So what happened? Yeah,
We've been in this
exactly.
relationship for 5 years together.
Damn it, we
I
deserve to
followed you all
know.
this time. I need to know what happened.
You feel invested. You got people that got YouTube pages of their relationship and whatever, and like, yeah, of course we gonna want to know the tea if something changes.
Right.
So I don't open up Pandora's box. That's not. Gonna
So you'll
happen.
never post. Krista gonna pop out with a husband and a kid, and then be like,
Straight
"Oh,
up.
yeah,
No,
yeah, I know."
That's exactly what's gonna happen. Y'all gonna be real confused. Like,
CTE.
So do you, one of your, okay, so would you say that you're one of those people that believe things can be a secret? Or do you think, because there's a difference between something being private and something being a secret.
I don't like secrets.
Yeah, like
listen,
I know there are a lot of people who will be like, listen, you will know I'm in a relationship. You might not know with who. You might not know how long we've been together. But you'll know that I have somebody. Some people, a lot of people, you won't even know that they have anybody.
That's men who cheat. Like if you're if you're one of those dudes who,
nah, that's Kristen
Or
too.
women.
I'm
I was about to
gonna
say
keep it a
Kristen, too.
secret. And it's not about cheating. It's just that, and I do this with even my family. Like, I'm not letting anybody meet my family. We got to be serious, and when we're serious, then we could pop out. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not going, be in a dating situation or whatever. We getting to know each other, and then I put you on my social media. Why?
no, that's not what she said.
No, I
So,
mean,
right, but that's
what
what
she
I'm
said.
saying. 'Cause,
No, I know that's
it
what you're
came-
saying.
yeah.
But what she just said was a secret versus. So what you're explaining is I'm
not
dating
saying I'm
somebody.
keeping my relationship a secret. I'm saying
and that's
I'm
what she's
waiting
saying.
until
Are you keeping your
it gets
relationship a secret?
serious. If I'm in a relationship, it's a secret until it becomes
see.
a marriage.
Okay.
And then when I'm married, then we could pop out. But I'm not. First of all, having a boyfriend's childish. I'm too old for that. Like,
I know that's right.
she said either be either married or we single.
childish.
Period.
If you
But that's by law. That's according
Yeah,
to the law.
really.
not
if-
married, you single.
Yeah,
Not married,
That's
you're single.
that's true.
I feel like a lot of people want to put their moral like high horse on people. By default, a lot of people base their morals on religion, and they believe that their way is the right way. Everybody knows I'm not Christian, so although I can respect living in a Christ-like way, I don't follow the Bible as like law for me.
Okay.
Do I believe the Bible is a good book? Yes. Do I believe that there are good messages? Of course. But when it comes to like the way we live right now, a lot of people take, whether it's Christian or Muslim, they take their religion as their basis of what you should do and shouldn't do for your boundaries. So one of the best definitions, I believe, of feminism is allowing other women to do what they do as long as it's not hurting anybody else. We allow people to do what they do, even if it's not the life we would live. So, for example, there might be people out there that their boundary is you don't even show your face. All you can see is eyes. Some people, I won't even show my hair. Some people, you can't show a shoulder. That's their boundary.
Right.
That's fine. And that's beautiful because that's their religion and that's what they believe in. And I think all religion can be very beautiful. However, when you start taking your boundaries and placing them on other people, that's when we have a problem, especially with social media, because they'll say, how can, and my friend Sheila and I go through this all the time. We're both married. How can y'all be married and be out here thirst trapping? How can you be married and still, you know what I mean, be in a bikini? And it's like, well, that's your boundary that you might have in your relationship. However, our husbands don't mind. In fact, our husbands encourage us to be ourselves, whoever that may be, because they don't own us and they don't have any, this is our body. Like that's my body autonomy. I get to do what I want with my body as long as that's what flies in our relationship. So I think a lot of times what our issue is that why things bother us sometimes is because, I don't know, maybe it makes you feel uncomfortable because of something that goes against your religion. Maybe it makes you feel uncomfortable because you wish you had that type of freedom. Maybe it makes you feel uncomfortable because you wish that your husband or your significant other wasn't as strict. But for me and mine, this is what flies. Like,
and you know what I love about what you said? Like, if you see someone with a hijab and, you know, only their eyes are covered, you're not going to be like, oh, she's like, you know, a slave to her husband or blah, blah, blah. That's so ignorant.
There are people that are like that. And like what we said earlier, projection, because some of the most beautiful people I know, they make that choice to cover up. That's how and you know, that's their interpretation of their religion. That's their interpretation. I know that the Quran says that they're supposed to be modest. Both men and women should be modest. You're not supposed to be out there and be flashy. Now, however far you want to take it, that's culturally your interpretation of that. Everybody's different. So how dare I come out here, coming from being raised by a hippie, where everybody's running around naked at like a gay resort. Literally, my mom was a manager of one of the first gay-friendly hotel and restaurants in the Virgin Islands, where we grew up different. Yeah. So how dare I come in and be like, oh, you must be so controlled. You must be so repressed. Right. Whatever. That is freedom to them. That covering is their freedom. Yeah. They feel like they can be their very best selves covered up. Just like I can feel I'm my very best self butt naked. Like, how dare I put my boundary or take their boundary and you put it on me? And I think we all have probably more in common than we have different, but we're so quick to point out what we have different that we can't find the commonalities and we can't come together. And that's, I think, the issues that we're having with boundaries right now is that everybody's on their moral high horse and everybody's out here telling everyone else how to be, when it's like, how about there's beauty in differences? Yeah. How about this is what makes the world? I think definitely at the end of the day, we should each set our own boundaries. Yeah. Maintain them. And then respect
the boundaries of others.
Other people's boundaries.
Of course. Exactly. That's so important. It's so important. But I can't wait for that day, because honestly, like, I think if we all did more self-reflection and we all, you know what they say, and I'm probably sure you're familiar with this with your psychology background, that sometimes what makes you upset is really just something that you need to work on within yourself. If somebody triggers something in you, that's usually shadow work. The shadow work that you have to do, because you're like, well, why is this pissing me off like this? That happens to me sometimes. Of course, I'm human. I might see something and I'm like, oh, I can't stand that when that girl does that. And I'm like, wait, hold up. You have to back up and be like, what is it really about her? Am I jealous? You know, it's her, you know what I mean? Her curls popping more than mine. Like, you know, it's her,
1, 2, 3.
It's her body.
What the heck is bothering me?
What is bothering me? Like, what? And I mean,
Family Matters.
It's like, we have to get to the bottom of that. We have to start doing more inner work. Like, hold on. Like, we cannot be walking around this miserable and taking the time to be keyboard warriors and coming to people's pages and telling them what they should and shouldn't be doing or wearing or saying. It's
right. So if anybody out there is watching and this is triggering them, I definitely encourage you to look into some shadow work, because that will help uncover exactly why this is triggering you and what you could do to fix it. But speaking of boundaries, we have this version of Toxic or Not Toxic. I've been waiting to do this song for a long time because this song is like, I mean, really the music video is the reason why I wanted to do that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So Lionel Richie, hello.
You got the phone out?
Wait. We got the lyrics. Okay, so just to paint the picture for the listeners, if you haven't seen this music video, basically Lionel Richie is a professor at a university, and he's just in love with his student, so he's singing to her,
which is inappropriate already.
Oh yeah. Wait, he's a professor and she's a student?
Yeah.
In the video?
Yeah.
I didn't know
that.
It's
a university though.
No, doesn't matter. That's
like
there's a power imbalance.
You're
not even allowed to date your students as a professor.
But wait, let me throw you a curveball. The student is blind.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. So she's, in the hallway or whatever, and he's just singing to her. So it goes like, I've been alone with you inside my mind. Doom, doom.
Where is
and
it?
in my
very second
dreams I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. I sometimes see you pass outside my door.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for?
Okay, so
all right, so then he goes on to say, you know, yeah, you got a different version. I can see it all in your eyes. I can see it in your smile. You're all I've ever wanted. Okay. I want to tell you how much I love you.
He's in love.
And then he starts to say, because I wonder where you are and I wonder what you do. Are you somewhere feeling lonely? Is there someone loving you? Tell me how to win your heart, for I haven't have a clue. But let me start by saying I love you.
I love you.
Then this is the banger over here.
Wait. We need to unpack this.
That's a lot to unpack.
We got to unpack this because first of all, he's in his mind that he has a whole relationship with this woman,
Said
right?
he kissed her 1,000. I mean, all y'all can relate because
you've had a crush before, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing toxic
that's
about
not what I was
crush.
talking about. A crush. I'm talking about y'all fans thinking thinking they in whole relationships with y'all.
Alone with us inside their head.
I think people have fantasies of people that they've never met before. I think that that's kind of normal. I think we'd be lying to ourselves if we didn't say that we could see somebody, even if it's like when you're little, like, and it's somebody that's a celebrity and you're like, I swear, like one day I'm going to be this person's girlfriend. And one day, like, you know, it's like, I think it's a very normal thing to fantasize about people you don't know.
Or a natural thing.
It's very natural. Yeah, I think it's normal and natural.
So when does it get to the point that it's neurotic? Because
I think the video is what makes this neurotic. I think there was a different way he could have played this completely.
Some of the lyrics are as well.
But in my dream, I've kissed your lips 1,000 times. Like, you know,
there ain't no crime in that, right?
I see you pass outside my door. He's not stalking her. She's walking past his door.
Okay, well, wait.
You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
Like, it's not like,
in her.
yeah, you're in my property.
Different from mine.
I don't know why.
You're all I've ever wanted and my arms are open wide. Like, I feel like it's just somebody that has a crush. Now, when you paint it, see, this is the problem with music videos. You can listen to lyrics, and then my mom used to say this. She used to be like, you know, I liked music before people knew what they looked like. Nobody knew the Isley Brothers were ugly. Like, she said that. She was like, you know, she was like, because their music was so beautiful, but not even that they're it's not right. But what she meant was
that's
like,
not nice. That's
you know
toxic.
how people had ideas and they could paint their own picture, but then music videos made you paint the picture.
And you're an avid reader too.
I am an avid reader. I read The Color Purple. And then when I saw the movie, it was good, but the movie is nothing like the book.
That happens all the time.
You know, all the time. And of course, because they have to condense it. But I'm sorry, you can't position yourself as a professor with a student. That changes the whole innocence of this song. Now
I don't think there's anything innocent about the song because really what it's saying, okay, it's one thing to fantasize about another person, whatever. But he's saying that when he goes to her, when he is in front of her, he's going to tell her that he loves her.
When does he say that?
He says in the song.
Where?
I want to say I love you.
I love you. And I think that's a little weird. I mean,
that's very weird.
Like,
but
sir,
when you
don't
go
know this
abroad,
girl.
no,
she's in
like
your head.
When I was in Paris and Italy too, okay, both places, okay, I would have these foreigners, like that's their pickup line. They'd be like, "Oh, I love you."
But like, wait, I don't see that. You're all I've ever wanted, and my arms are open wide because you know just what to say.
It's different lyrics on Apple.
But let me start by saying, "I love you."
I love you.
Yeah, but he's singing it. He's not saying like he's literally saying I see it in my mind. I
he
think
loves
he's having
her.
all this. Yeah.
He doesn't know her, like sir. And
I
then,
think love is.
And then let's take it a step further because in the music video, this girl is blind. He has the nerve to be like, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" Like
she can't see.
What you mean?
Well, that's
just
that's the music video. I can see that being.
That was artistic. Shout out to them. Big up to them. That was really cute. Can I get my chips now? Well, you don't work that.
Okay, so yeah, well, we're gonna end the episode. Well, we gotta vote toxic or not toxic.
Oh, I think it's toxic.
Definitely toxic.
I don't think it's toxic at all. Like
okay.
not even a little bit. The video very toxic.
Okay, 2 against 1.
The
toxic.
The lyrics. Yeah, paired with.
Okay, so wait. Because I just got back from Canada. So because I got back, I brought y'all some ketchup chips. I've been hyping these ketchup chips up.
That's disgusting.
I know.
I thought so too. So my sister, she put me on. My sister's like, she's been.
Does it have like dyes and
this girl? She's like
red 40. Does it have red 40 in it?
We're not going to talk about.
No, that's a good question. That's toxic, literally, to your body.
That is toxic.
No, it doesn't have red 40 in it.
No red 40?
No.
Lucky for you guys.
So, okay. just off the site, like ketchup chips sounds disgusting. But I'm gonna leave it up to Dee.
But people dip potatoes in ketchup, so I guess that's the theory.
That was the thing. I was like, oh, this is just like a French fry. And
I would like
ketchup.
every vegan to know that these are not vegan. They contain milk. So I don't know how they put milk in ketchup and chips, but somehow they squeezed milk in there.
So,
She's
what do they
confused.
taste like to me?
Milky. They
No.
taste milky? Okay, just wondering.
They don't
Let me
taste
see
milky.
the ingredients.
She wants
Your
to try
mom.
one.
I did not want to try none of that.
You know what it tastes like? Almost like salt and vinegar chips.
Yes.
It has MSG in it.
Oh damn.
Monosodium glutamate. It's literally the
That's toxic.
1, 2, 3. It's the fourth ingredient. There you go.
Toxic.
Very toxic.
It tastes like
It has
ketchup.
Allura red and
They
sunset
are- they're
yellow
ketchup chips.
FCF.
Yeah, it tastes like ketchup. I could when you swivel your tongue around
Do you
it.
hear this? It
Yeah.
has Allura red. Anyone
Hey,
want to know what
parents,
Allura red and
I would not give this
sunset
to my
yellow
children.
FCF? That is
How do they taste?
crazy.
They're good enough.
They're good enough.
They're good enough.
They're fire. I like them.
I wouldn't say fire.
Also, vegetable oil, very bad for you.
Yeah.
By the way,
Vegetable oil.
yeah, vegetable
I'm
oil.
just such a mom.
Any of those
Let me see.
vegetable oils.
I think they, not healthy. I wouldn't feed these to my kids.
No,
She's like, but I'm
definitely
gonna tear 'em
not.
up.
But you like them?
I'm
You
gonna
do.
eat these.
I'm gonna eat them too.
They salty.
Shout out to Canada. All right, y'all.
So they don't sell these here, is what we're saying.
They don't. They're in Canada. only.
And normally in Canada they have stronger regulations.
I didn't know that. We can't tell by these nasty potato chips, though.
Well, we gonna tear these chips up. Not Aisha, just me and Dee. And we want you guys to like, subscribe, comment, follow our pages, social
Yes.
media platforms, and
And
etc.
also, if you guys want to do any brand ambassadorship or sponsorship with Toxics Anonymous, email us at toxicsanonymous@gmail.com.
Toxics Anonymous podcast at gmail.com.
Thanks for the
All right, guys. Meeting adjourned over.